A medicine to treat COVID-19 and speed recovery from it is making headlines tonight. That development comes as U.S. deaths from COVID have reached 60,000, exceeding the 58,000 killed in the Vietnam War. And economic growth in this country has suffered its sharpest collapse in a dozen years. Stephanie Sy has our lead report.
A glimmer of hopeful news today in the battle to contain COVID-19. The National Institutes of Health reported positive results from an international study on the experimental drug remdesivir, made by the biotech firm Gilead. The NIH's Dr. Anthony Fauci voiced hope at the White House.
The data shows that remdesivir has a clear-cut, significant positive effect in diminishing the time to recovery.
The study among hospitalized patients showed those who took the drug had a 31% faster recovery time. The Food and Drug Administration said it is moving to make remdesivir available to patients as soon as possible. But on the economic front, hope was harder to find. The pandemic has now officially stopped the U.S. economy's longest expansion on record. The nation's output of goods and services shrank at an annual rate of 4.8% in the first quarter. And as White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow acknowledged, that's just the beginning.
The next quarter is going to be much worse. But, you close the economy down for 2 months plus, and we've done everything we can to provide liquidity and cash assistance and protect workers.
A new PBS NewsHour NPR Marist poll finds that 50% of Americans have been laid off or have a household member who has either lost a job or had their hours cut. Just today, Boeing announced it will cut 10% of its workforce. In another bid to shore things up, the Federal Reserve announced it will keep a key interest rate near zero for the foreseeable future. Chairman Jerome Powell.
What we're trying to assure, really, is that the market is working. The market is assessing risks. Lenders are lending, borrowers are borrowing.
The nation's food supply chain is also under new scrutiny. President Trump last night signed an executive order telling meatpacking plants to remain open. At least 17 plants have suspended operations in recent weeks due to coronavirus outbreaks among workers. Unions quickly criticized the president's order. But in the Oval Office today, President Trump pushed back, saying workers will be kept safe.
They're going to be very careful. They are, as to who's going into the plant. And the quarantine is going to be very strong. And we're going to make people better when they have a problem.
More states are starting to loosen lockdowns, allowing retailers and restaurants to open as they try to reassure returning customers.
You should feel comfortable to come into the Cleburne and sit down and enjoy your meal like you did in the old days.
This Houston restaurant is providing hand sanitizer and taking customers' temperatures. But in areas that were hot spots, officials like New York Governor Andrew Cuomo again counseled caution.
Make the decisions on the facts, make the decisions on the numbers. You can reopen if you don't increase hospitalizations and you don't increase the infection rate.
In Europe, COVID-19 spread across the continent has led to a slow start to a usually busy tourism season. In hard-hit Italy, a beachfront near Naples is deserted as hotels and beaches remain closed. And Greece's Corfu Island is bracing for the worst.
We don't know if our hotels will open, when will they open, so we're right now in the brink of very hard times.
In Germany today, officials extended a travel warning until mid-June, despite protests from industry groups. And in Japan, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe warned that the already postponed Tokyo Summer Olympics may not be held next year either, unless there is a COVID-19 vaccine by then. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Stephanie Sy.
Wall Street surged today on hopes for a major medical advance in the pandemic. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 532 points to close at 24,663. The Nasdaq rose 307 points, 3.5%, and the S&P 500 was up 76.